Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world and for those who have passed away in our community, especially Michael Hales, who was a 25-year member of the Scranton Fire Department. City Council extends its condolences. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Dr. Rothchild. Mr. Sean McAndrew.
Present.
Mr. Mark McAndrew.
Present.
Mr. Flynn.
Here.
Mr. Schuster.
Present. Dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Third order, 3A, minutes of the Scranton-Lackawanna Health and Welfare Authority meeting held December 18th, 2025. 3B, Lackawanna County Planning Commission Subdivision and Land Development Evaluation Report, reviewed January 9th, 2026. 3C, minutes of the Scranton Firefighters Pension Commission meeting held December 17th, 2025. 3D, agenda for the non-uniform Municipal Pension Board meeting held January 21st, 2026. 3E, minutes of the non-uniform Municipal Pension Board meeting held December 17th, 2025. 3F, minutes of the Scranton Police Pension Commission meeting held December 17th, 2025. 3G, minutes of the Composite Pension Board meeting held December 17th, 2025.
Are there any comments on any of the third order items? If not, is there a comment? If not, received and filed. Do any council members have any announcements at this time?
Yeah, I announced it last week. I'll announce it again this week. There will be a food collection drive hosted by American Legion, Post 121, the Hill Neighborhood Association, Friends of Naog Park, and the Scranton Municipal Recreation Authority on Saturday, February 14th, and Sunday, February 15th, from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Naog Community Room, which is located right by the pool. This drive is in an effort to restock some of the local food pantries. They're asking for volunteers for the drive for each day, and if you are willing and able to volunteer, they ask that you please try to make it an hour early to help them set up. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Voldenberg?
I have an announcement.
Sorry.
So this Thursday, the monthly luncheon at the Victor Alfieri Society over on West Side. You can dine in or take out. This month they're having polenta or pasta with meatballs. $12 for members, $14 for non-members. They always love and thank your support. Secondly, the Elm Park Church is having its monthly dinner. So it'll be February 14th. It'll be the Candlelight Community Festival Feast. The doors open at 5. This is free to the community. The menu is lasagna soup, salad and with homemade lemon vinaigrette, pork tenderloin, twice baked potatoes, dinner rolls and butters, Brussels sprouts, Valentine's Day punch, coffee and tea, and dessert made by Kira. Kira, which I'm happy and proud to say is a former student of mine that helps them out a lot and makes all their desserts. That is all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Voldenberg?
Fourth order, citizen participation.
Our first speaker tonight is Ms. Joan Hodowanitz.
Joan Hodowanitz, Scranton. Let's talk about the snowstorm. I think DPW did a damn good job under the conditions they faced. Single-digit temperatures, 9+ inches of snow, bad timing. It just snowed all day long. I live downtown on the 4th floor of Samter's building, and all day Monday are nothing but, bobcats traversing Penn Avenue and Lackawanna Avenue and dump trucks and piles, mountains of snow and everything else. A lot of people get upset. My mother used to get upset. She lived in Manuka, and she had a big driveway, and I would, after I retired, I would get out there and I'd do all the shoveling and everything else. Here would come the plow, and it would push the snow and bury the end of the driveway. And I guess this happens to just about everybody that owns a driveway. But people have to understand, when that plow goes down the street, and he'll go more than once, obviously, they go down the street, and they're usually going down the center. The purpose is so that they open up the road for emergency vehicles, just in case there's an emergency. Now, I don't know what people think is going to happen. You know, they plow down the street, and yes, they bury the end of your driveway. But there's no army of DPW workers to take shovels and shovel out the bottom of your driveway. You need to have the roads open for your own protection. I hated it when I would go out 3, 4, 5 times and have to reshovel the bottom of the driveway so I could get my car out. But that's the price you pay for being secure on that street, that if there's an emergency vehicles are going to reach you. Now, it's not a perfect system. Sometimes, you know, the plow might dump more snow on your side than the other side of the street. Garbage pickup gets, you know, pushed back. People with, you know, they have their garbage cans in alleys might get picked up 2 or 3 days late. It's not perfect. But if you would like to work outside when it's 5 degrees and there's a wind that gives you a wind chill factor of minus 10 degrees below zero, have at it. You couldn't pay me to do that kind of work. So DPW, thank you. God forbid we have another snowstorm this weekend. There is a possibility. It's not likely, but it's possible. But they earn every penny they made this past 2 days, in my opinion. And speaking of our wonderful DPW, have they got a union contract yet?
That's still ongoing.
Okie dokie. I will tell you what is still ongoing also is the city's website. You click on labor contracts, the CBAs, you're going to see a page with 13 documents, and most of them are old, outdated, obsolete documents. They do not have on the website the current CBA for the police. And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I don't know who took it down and who re-engineered that web page, but they need to put them back up. Those are public documents, and we need to see them. And something good that I want to mention, Scranton Public Library is having what's called Family Mini Golf this Sunday from 12 to 3 p.m. at the Albright Memorial Library and the Children's Library. There will be golf holes in both buildings for kiddies. And when they make a hole at the Children's Library, we're hoping that they'll take a free book with them back home. The price is $5 if you get a ticket in advance, $7 at the door, but it's a fun event. It's a fundraiser for the library, and the kids love it. They really love it. They're going through the stacks, you know, and then we engineer all kinds of things for them to play golf. The snow date, if we do get the snowstorm from hell, is February 22nd. So let your families know, you know, winter can be fun if you let it. And DPW, go, go, go. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Mike Mancini.
Good evening, Scranton. Tonight I want to talk about something we all experience daily, the condition of our local roads. Whether you drive, bike, or walk, you've noticed how many potholes, cracks, uneven surfaces have become part of our landscape. What used to be small annoyances have turned into safety hazards that cost our community time, money, and peace of mind. Every year, residents report hundreds of potholes and damaged streets, yet repairs often come slowly or patch jobs don't last. These neglected roads aren't just inconvenient, they damage vehicles, put cyclists at risk, and make it harder for emergency responders to reach those in need. Important maintenance just doesn't reflect wear and tear, it reflects priorities. Fixing our roads isn't about anesthetics. It's about an investment in safety, local economy, and quality of life. When roads are well maintained, commutes get shorter, small businesses thrive, and neighborhoods feel cared for. Smooth, reliable infrastructure attracts residents and employers. It shows that our city is moving forward, but progress does not happen without action. We need our local officials to commit to consistent maintenance schedules, transparent reporting of road requests, and smarter use of public works budgets. Let's push for better materials, modern paving and patching methods that last longer and reduce waste. And as citizens, we should hold leaders accountable by attending council meetings, reporting hazards, staying informed about infrastructure funding. Bless you. Our roads connect every part of this community. They take us to work, to church, to school, shopping, and to see family and friends. Maintaining them isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Let's make sure that the streets we travel every day reflect the pride and care we have for our city. Together, we can move from frustration to action and from potholes to progress. I would like to see council bring in the inspection firm that inspects our pave cuts. From where I stand, the progress is broken. As evidence of poor planning, we'll have a poor result. Once thawed, our roads will be in the worst condition of my lifetime. A critical function that was not broken was ultimately taken away from DPW. Let us recognize a group of public servants who rarely seek the spotlight, but those who work to keep our community moving safe and connected, the Department of Public Works and its snow removal team. When winter storms hit, they're the ones who turn long nights and dangerous roads into clear streets and safe neighborhoods. While most of us are inside with our families, they're out in the dark and in the cold, plowing streets, spreading salt, checking storm drains, and making sure emergency vehicles could reach every home. They maintain the roads, bridges, and essential infrastructure that we often only notice when something goes wrong. But thanks to their dedication, problems are rare and solutions are quick. The recent storms tested every part of our community. Schools and businesses depend on safe roads. First responders depend on clear routes. And our most vulnerable neighbors depend on all of us working together. Our DPW team answered the call with professionalism, planning, long hours, turning potential disruption into a powerful example of what an effective and reliable team looks like. Excellent snow removal does not happen by accident. It takes year-round preparation, maintaining equipment, training staff, mapping routes, coordinating with police, fire, and emergency management, watching the forecast so they could act before the first snowflakes hit the ground. It's a combination of skilled workers, good management, and a deep sense of responsibility to the people they serve. To the men and women of our DPW, thank you. Thank you for your nights away from your families, the early mornings, the careful driving, the problem solving in the middle of the storm, and the pride you take in every clear block. You show us that public service is not just a job, it's a commitment to your community. On behalf of all of us, we recognize your excellent snow removal work, your dedication to maintaining our infrastructure in every season, and your unwavering service to our town. They truly deserve the appreciation and the new contract that they have truly earned. Can you imagine what DPW could do with proper leadership? Good evening, Scranton.
Thank you. Next up, Les Spindler.
Evening, Council. Les Spindler, city resident, homeowner. I want to echo what Joan said, that the streets do have to be plowed, but I live on the corner. I have 130 feet of sidewalk and street to clean. And did it yesterday. I did it once. They came by, plowed me in. I went out, cleaned it up again. They came by, plowed me in again. They had the plow tilted in my direction. Why don't they have it tilted straight, going straight, so the snow will go to both sides? Everything was pushed to my direction. The other side of the street was okay. I don't know why they do that. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not getting any younger. I had a lot of work to do yesterday. So I hope they change their policies. I don't know why they just don't go straight down the middle instead of pushing it to one side. Next, I didn't attend the meeting last week, but I watched it. I want to thank Councilman Sean McAndrew and Councilman Flynn for attending that Pennsylvania Mega Water meeting and speaking up for us. I know I went to that meeting last year, I think it was last year, at the Masonic Temple when they asked for that outrageous hike, and I spoke against it. So I appreciate you sticking up for the residents. Unlike your predecessors, the only one they stuck up for was the mayor. So thank you. Next thing, I see where the Main Avenue exit, there's a sign there off the expressway warning trucks about the low bridge. I'm glad they're trying to do something, but I don't think that's the right place for that sign. I don't think many trucks coming off the highway are making that right turn and going under the bridge. It should be on Main Avenue somewhere. They're either coming from one direction or the other on Main Avenue. And that's not the right place for that sign. So maybe if PennDOT can move it. That's my opinion anyway. Next thing. Almost had a heart attack the other day when I heard about this person that was murdered in Minneapolis. They're out of control. These ICE agents are out of control. They had the man on the ground. 3 or 4 agents were on top of him. All they had to do was handcuff the guy. But somebody yelled gun, and all of a sudden they started firing shots. I mean, something's got to happen. I mean, Governor Josh Shapiro was on The View this morning. I'm upset that I missed most of it, but I just came down, put the TV on later. And they asked him if he's going to run for president in 4 years. And he said, I don't want to talk about that. He said, I want to fix what's going on now. And what he did say, what I've been saying, we got to get out and vote this year and turn the House Democrat, not Republican. And maybe we can get Donald Trump impeached and out of here. It's the only way this country's going to get back. He's saying, make America great again? Well, he's making America bad. America was always great. He's making it terrible. And even his allies in the Republican Party are starting to turn against him. That's all I have tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address council?
Good evening, Council. Virgil Argenta, Scranton resident. I'd like to commend DPW for the job they did with the limited resources that they had in the limited direction. The lack of the snow removal in Scranton this storm is unacceptable. It's evident that Mayor Cognetti has neglected her responsibility to ensure public safety. The streets are a danger to citizens and first responders. It's unacceptable when a police officer is dispatched to a call to service and he or she is stranded due to road conditions. To make matters worse, when you notify 911, they're told there's no emergency DPW shift. And when the DPW comes out, they're not allowed to use salt. This goes beyond incompetence. It's a dereliction of duty. The mayor's lack of preparation for the storm betrays public trust. What steps will be taken to resolve this, and how will the mayor be held accountable? Scranton needs real leadership, not empty statements. Allow the workers to do their job. They don't need to be micromanaged. They've been clearing snow for a long time here in the city and under a lot of administrations. This isn't just a failure, it's a pattern of neglect. Every previous administration has managed to mobilize resources and keep our streets safe during snowstorms. But under Mayor Cognetti, we're left with chaos and gridlock. Council, I understand this isn't your problem. Let's not forget the ID badges, Council. It's embarrassing that 2 newly elected officials are being treated like second-class citizens, waiting for basic credentials. This is the kind of bureaucratic incompetence you'd expect from a third world country, not Scranton, Pennsylvania. The lack of ID badges, locked down City Hall, preventing residents from addressing issues, and the understaffed DPW emergency shifts are symptoms of a larger problem, a mayor who is utterly disconnected from the needs of the city. It's like she is willingly ignoring the responsibilities of her elected office. If this administration can't even manage something as simple as ID badges for 2 new city council members, how can we trust them with millions of dollars in taxpayer funds or emergency response planning? This is a symptom of a larger disease, a mayor who is out of touch and out of ideas. It's no secret that this mayor's eyes are on Congress. That's not the job she was elected to do. Her job was to run the city, and she's failing miserably, day after day. The timing is suspicious with snowstorms, ID badge delays, City Hall lockdowns. It looks like the mayor's priorities are more focused on campaign fundraising than constituent safety. Council, it's time to call out the neglect for what it is, a dereliction of duty for personal ambition. The people of Scranton didn't elect a congressperson, they elected a mayor. When will we see the mayor's attention shift back to the city she was elected to serve? But now let's talk about the kids, the school children. Council, students are missing school because they can't get to school. Parents can't drop them off, can't pick them up, and the school buses can't even get into the neighborhoods to pick them up because the streets are impassable. This is unacceptable. Children deserve to be in school where they're safe. Learning, when will the mayor prioritize their needs? Council, I'd also like to request the city's snow removal policy and procedure be made available to the public. It's very clear that the DPW workers are doing their very best with the resources they have. Let's not forget, it's over 1 year since they have not had the signed contract. Can we all agree on an unfair contract negotiations? But not now. That's for another issue. The issue lies in the lack of leadership and planning from the mayor's office. Is the mayor's office following protocol due to the snow removal policy? Are DPW workers being deployed accordingly to plan? We need transparency on this. To clarify, DPW workers are doing their best with the limited resources and the failed direction that they're getting. The issue lies with the mayor's lack of leadership and planning for city safety. Council, another major snowstorm is expected this weekend. Are we prepared? Let's consider a key point. Leaders should lead by example. In a city like Scranton, it's important that top officials, especially the mayor, live where they work. If they don't make the community their home, how can we be confident they truly care about our needs? If the mayor and top officials live in Scranton, they would face the same problems as everyone else: snowy roads, traffic, and safety, and perhaps real solutions would result. Council members, this evening, I propose that we consider ordinance requiring key administrative officials to live within Scranton. There should be no more waivers or attempt to compensate for lost taxes. It's time our leadership to prioritize the people of Scranton. There's 80,000 residents here. I'm confident that we have plenty of qualified, competent, experienced individuals who would be proud to work for the city of Scranton.
Would anybody else like to address council?
Hello, Council. Rick Little. I have too much I want to say. I guess I'll start with everybody's living in a bubble. People are arguing about things that are crazy. I mean, I looked at the paper, and especially with the shooting in Minnesota. We are in a civil war. We're in a war with AI. Everybody's taking advantage of that with all the information's on our website. But it goes into all the different agencies, especially when it comes to democracy or voting, however you want to say it, with the DMV. It still irks me all these Biden street signs. Biden let 200 million people in over our border. That's what our problem is. And what President Trump is doing is basically, well, he is doing the Monroe Doctrine to secure our nation, because we won't have a nation. You can see what's happening in London and Paris and Berlin and all over the world, Canada. They've become, they bring, China lets out their insane in their jails, and many other countries do that. They come here, they go to the DMV, the local DMV, and then they can vote. And people are talking about democracy and, disenfranchised voters. The shooting, I mean, it's tragic, but, they're blaming the law enforcement officers, and it's the same thing everywhere. The people in power, put it on the police or the sheriffs, or ICE is just trying to do their job, and they're not going to stop. I mean, in my opinion, they should do it one state at a time. Send in the Marines, because they've stolen at least $30 billion. You can see them going out of the airports. That means the airports are dirty in this whole business, sending the money back to their own countries, especially Somalia, if we're talking about Minnesota. I mean, that Mayor Fry and Governor Tim Walz, they should be arrested under the law. No one knows what laws we're going under. We're trying to save our country. We're trying to save it under the Monroe Doctrine. The Dominion Company that has the cheating voting machines that were right here in Pennsylvania and Arizona and Georgia, they changed their name to Liberty. I mean, I don't read about that in the paper. Thank God for social media and the people that are talking. That's how Trump got into office. He came into office, fake news. He's pointing to all, and that's what it is. That's what I've studied all my life, is media. And it is fake news. And it gets faker and faker when you try to go online or you go to some agency, and, especially with the courts, the judicial branch. I mean, the way our Constitution was made, pre-1871, if a judge was drunk, he's out. Now they're the highest paid. They have so many rules and regulations that protect the judiciary. It's secret, and you can see the way they were, prosecuting Trump a couple of years ago. But as far as Scranton goes, it's all over the place. There's Greater Scranton and Scranton. I mean, I was writing a book. This is the seat of capitalism. Around 1900, and that's where I got lost. I go to the library. I see what a great city. They even, made their own money. The Whiskey Rebellion was right here in Pennsylvania. We need to get on top of stuff. 1776.
Thank you. Mr. Voldenberg?
Fifth order, 5A motions.
Mr. Sean McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
Yes. First, I want to bring up, it was brought to my attention regarding the Laceworks development property. They received a letter from the Department of Licensing, Inspection, and Permits alleging that the property is zoned for an L1, a light industrial, and they're in violation of Section 51A3 for operating a short-term rental. The Laceworks property, apartments, venue, it's a beautiful property. It's one of the best redevelopment projects the city has seen in a while. And this is exactly the type of investment the city should be working with, and especially given that they do have weddings and everything there, the short-term rentals kind of seem like a natural fit. But my understanding is that property was actually rezoned back in 2019 to an IL mixed use with adaptive reuse approval as part of the whole project, which spans, though that property is a big property, which spans from Myrtle's Street to Albright Ave. And it's one single parcel supposedly listed. Could we contact the LIPS department to confirm whether this rezoning parcel configurations are accurate?
I will, sir.
And I can send you all the information I have on it too, email it over to you.
I'll do that tomorrow.
All right. So last week I did receive some answers to my previous questions right before the meeting that I wasn't able to look through and answer or speak out on. We did get some of the fidelity reports back. So I appreciate the administration giving us the Riley report and the third-party inspector report. But I do have concerns whether if, are they going to have a more comprehensive building inspection done before the due diligence period is running out. The document we got was about 5 pages. It wasn't really in detail. When I purchased my home and did a house inspection, I think the pages there, I think there was like a 50-page report. So I'm just wondering, is there going to be another inspection, or is this everything they're going on to move forward with the purchase?
I'll ask those questions.
All right. The ARPA questions I asked for. I asked for one consolidated report. I do appreciate their response, but the documents that were given still don't match. Like, they gave multiple documents. They gave us, which I thought the best one was the Excel that broke down what type of award it was, how much they received, how much has been paid out, or if it was canceled. But they also gave memos that they provided to council throughout the years with updates on who got awards. A lot of the information is on the memo, but it's not on the spreadsheet. Or even how they're not properly listed under the current name on the memo versus the spreadsheet. There's also things that we know that were in the media or promoted that or announcements that were made that additional recipients got the awards that aren't on either. So I'm going to ask for one more time. I need one document. An Excel file was perfect, telling me who got it, what they got, how much is paid out, if anybody was canceled, mark it just like they did, but all in one place so we can take a look at this. Because it'll help us, see, which ones to maybe do a further deeper dive into, and just want to make sure the funds were used correctly and it'd be easier if everything's in one place, not 5 different documents with some things on this, some things not on that.
I'll ask for that.
All right, I did get some responses today regarding my questions regarding the DPW contract negotiations. I asked when the timeline of negotiations began, what the process, or what progress has been made to date, and who from the city represents the administration in the room, and how much is set aside in the budget to kind of get this contract done. Response I got was DPW negotiations have been ongoing through 2025, and parties met in January 2026. Incremental progress has been made at each session. The city administration is represented by the Labor Council, the business administrator, the DPW director, and the HR director. The city has accounted for the DPW contract in the 2026 operating budget. So I understand they accounted for the contract, which I expected. I'm wondering how much. How much money did they set aside for the contract? Because we're purchasing buildings. We probably just paid a ton of money we're going to be paying for snow removal to contractors. That's all going to add up. So we need to start budgeting for next year. And we're still waiting for them to come in to show us their forecast. I believe they're not done with their forecast for the next 5 years for the budget with Pell. So I am requesting, as requested in the caucus earlier, for their previous 5-year forecast so we could see that. And finally, the roads and the snow. It was a big storm. I did actually go out and do a ride along with the drivers on Sunday from 6 to 10. And I have to say, our DPW employees worked their tails off. I mean, in the truck is a whole different view. I'm with the wind blowing and the snow coming down, how many times they had to pull over just to get the ice off the windshield wipers. We had to get out of the truck to help a cop who was stuck. We pushed the car out. They go above and beyond. They help neighbors when they see somebody pulled over. They go down narrow streets. You go pave something, you go plow something, you come back. People are blowing the snow in the road. So they have a tough job. They are told where to go, when to go, how many people to go out, when to salt, when not to salt. I mean, it made sense not to salt while the snow was coming down, they were plowing, but when the snow stopped, I was still with them. They were told not to salt. At the end of the night, the salt was all stuck on the back of the truck when they tried to get it off and put it back into the salt shed, which, that's another story. The salt shed isn't as big as we're told it is. So I would like to request from the DPW director and the administration, what was the plan for this snowstorm? We all knew it was coming. We all knew it was probably going to be a big one. What was the plan? Okay? What do we learn from it? Or what do we plan for it? But I also want to know what we learned from it. So when this storm is over, I expect a post-storm report. You know, what did we do well? What didn't we do well? What did we plan for that, you know, we should, or what should we have planned for better next time? Because we know another storm might be coming over the weekend, and it might cripple us with the snow what we have right now. I know there's contractors out, moving snow, and I don't know where they're moving it to, but they're doing a good job with it. But our employees do a great job. I think we need to make sure we're planning correctly for these storms, so I would like to have that information. As for the school districts, I mean, they just sent over an email to the city with, I think it was like 30 pictures of roads that they cannot turn down with buses, all right? And that makes me think, if a bus can't turn down, how does a fire truck turn down? How does an ambulance? I mean, it's emergency services turning down those streets as well. Crosswalks not being, with the snow not being removed there for our students who have to walk to school. So I know they're probably planning on trying to go back Thursday, but with the pictures they showed, and that came at the end of the day, I just hope, they're able to focus on that to make sure that we can get these kids to school safe, but also, get these other roads that are blocked on the corners to make sure we can have emergency services come through. And that is all I have, so thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mark McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
I have a few. So I might as well hop in on snow removal. And turn my mic on. I'm jumping in on snow removal. I'm here 6+ years. I'm living here 63+ years. DPW always does a fantastic job. Some snowstorms I've lived here for blizzards. I've lived here for, ice storms. And everybody wants their street plowed immediately. They want it crystal clean, and it's not a reality, and I get it. And Joan made some great points, in order to make the streets safe, you're going to take on a little snow in front of your house or in front of your driveway. And I think we're all used to it. It shouldn't be a surprise anymore. And Councilman McAndrew over here made a great point. DPW do a great job, but it's by the direction thereof, all right? The direction thereof. They're told where to go. They're told when to go. They're told how much to go, how many hours you can do it, how many passes you can make. And it's funny, we're talking about this, and as we're sitting here, I get an email from a resident, and it's regarding her street. And she lives on 100 Tracy Lane. It's a corner of Tracy Lane and Kimberly Drive. It's a cul-de-sac. We've been here for 12 years. We've never had a problem with snow removal until this administration. She's testifying to this, was elected, and now it's a constant problem. So, like I said, they do a fantastic job, but it's by the direction thereof. So, Mr. Gilbride, I'm sorry, Mr. Voldenberg, they're still not plowed out up there, all right?
I'll send it out.
It came through on Sunday afternoon and has not plowed the cul-de-sac since. There's 7 inches of snow in the cul-de-sac. She pays a lot of taxes up there. I agree with her. She can't dig herself out and shouldn't have to because it's a city road. If you can please, forward that to the DPW department.
I will, sir.
All right, thank you. Also, back in November, 725 Factory Place has a bunch of potholes. They still haven't been addressed. In addition to the email I forwarded to you the other day, Mr. Voldenberg, right? This is in addition to that. If you can please see what happened. You know, we sent it over, and a lot of times we think it's taken care of, but we have to be reminded 3 months later by the same resident that it wasn't, and that's unfortunate. All right, so now I'm going to respond to a couple inquiries that I sent over that were prepared the 20th and then the 27th today. So I brought up about the hub test, right? And the response was, oh, you know, we sent out, and the hub test is a test to determine who's really a nonprofit and who shouldn't have that status anymore or should remain that status based on criteria that they have, okay? We brought this up or begged for it, I want to say more than 2 years ago, close to 3. And they were going to work in conjunction with the county, which was fine. We agreed to that. But, you know, I asked where are we at? And so last week, you know, our response was, in May of 2025, they sent out letters to all the nonprofits, you know, questioning or checking their tax-exempt status. And then in September 25, the assessor's office processes and drafting a second letter to nonprofits. So last September, they drafted and sent a second letter to nonprofits that didn't respond to the first letter. All right? It said it took a little time because it was put on the back burner because of the reassessment process to be completed. All right, so with that said, okay, so I want to know if we can find out who didn't respond the first time. Mr. Voldenberg, if you can just expand on this inquiry for me. Who didn't respond?
I will, Mr. McAndrew.
And why do they require a second letter within like 2 or 3 years? It's ridiculous. All right, and then secondly, where am I at here? So last week I asked about the LLC, social contract LLC, the partnership with the county, and the response is, you know, they're getting everybody together. We're going to bring them in, which is great. I'm glad to hear that because I need answers because they want a new contract, and we didn't get anything yet to prove that it's warranted, in my opinion. Just mine, but we'll see. Also, I asked about the parking lot on Main Avenue, West Side, next to Lucci Wineries, across from Vincenzo's, the one that NeighborWorks redid. Who's responsible for the snow removal on it? I know years past, DPW would take care of it, but like we says, by the direction thereof, right? So it's sitting there, it's a mess. I drive by it every day going away to school. There's a lot of ice caked up there. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. So what I got back was patrons, you know, owners were complaining about this, and they said the Parks Department will address the West Scranton Business District parking lot. Will it address it just this one time? And this was last week before the huge snowstorm we got recently. So is this something they're always going to take care of? Could you clarify that for me? Or is it something that DPW is supposed to do, or they're going to? I think there's a little confusion here, and sometimes when two people are confused, nothing gets done. So I'm worried about that. If we can, for clarification's sake, is that going to be their responsibility from here on out? And if that's the case, because I know they hired 2 people as part of the blight, is this the blight people? I'm not sure of them positions that might be the ones responsible, so clarify. And then with these same 2 people, take care of the weeds and the growth that happens around the planters there that's kind of neglected. I hear about, people bring to my attention.
I will, sir.
So if that's the responsibility, I'd like that clarified for me. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Flynn, do you have any motions or comments?
Yes, I do. Thank you. You know, as the chair for the Committee on Public Works, I have to take a moment to address the most recent storm response. The amount of calls, texts, and emails that I got was overwhelming. I believe our residents deserve answers. I'd like to start by thanking our DPW workers. These men and women work long hours, often overnight in dangerous conditions, and they do an incredible amount of work for this city every single day, not just during storms, but all year round. With that said, we also must be honest about what residents experienced during this most recent snowstorm. The response was night and day, depending upon where you live. Some neighborhoods received excellent service, while many others were barely plowed or not plowed at all. Contractors were brought in and appeared to be focused exclusively on the downtown area. That, to me, is not acceptable. It is great that the downtown area was worked on and cleared, but what good is it if our residents cannot get out of their neighborhoods and out of their houses to get there? Just for an example, I live on a main street. I live on North Washington Avenue. The first plow I saw come past my house was at 6 a.m. yesterday morning. After the full day of snow at the corner of North Washington and Electric Street, that was the first time I saw a plow come by. As a council, we need answers from the administration about the storm plan, the deployment of resources, the role of the contractors, and why some neighborhoods were effectively left out until basically today when they said that they're going to start really focusing on Southside. With another potential storm on the horizon, as my colleagues have talked about, for this upcoming weekend, we owe it to our residents to make sure we learn from this and we do better. So, Mr. Voldenberg, I have a litany of questions specific to ask the administration. How many plow trucks were on the road? What areas were the trucks sent to? How many trucks are dedicated to each neighborhood? Were there any routes not covered? Did we pre-treat the roads with salt? How many private contractors were used, and what were the routes they were given? What time did plowing operations begin in each specific area of the city? So I want to know when the snow started falling, where in the city were they deployed, and at what time in each area? What is the priority order for the routes, and how many trucks were operational during the storm? So if we could get those answers, I'd really appreciate it. Hopefully, we learn more before the potential snowstorm this weekend. So also, I got some responses as well to some of my questions. One around the Pennsylvania American Water Company and what I refer to as the cluster going on in my neighborhood, Green Ridge, with so many streets shut down at the same time in such close proximity. A lot of my neighbors couldn't leave Green Ridge. They were stuck there. And a lot of the responses I got were around the pave cuts and everything like that. But what I want to know, Mr. Voldenberg, specifically, they talked about in the response how permits are submitted through OpenGov with spatial information, automatic mapping, and that the city uses extensive GIS tools to plot and compare projects, submitted permit locations, and to track ongoing projects. They go on to say that in 2025, it was the first full year of the implementation of this, and the city has an authoritative and accurate list of all permitted street excavation work. So what I would like to know was this on the city end permitted to happen in this close proximity at the same exact time? How did we allow that to happen? And if not, what do we do as a city to make sure this doesn't happen? My belief is that it's all one utility company. If I'm wrong, and it's also the gas company as well, I'd like to know that. They didn't specifically say anything like that, but I would really like to know from the city perspective, especially considering we have all this great new software, how did this happen in Green Ridge with all these streets? Like I said, Electric Street, Wyoming Avenue, Delaware, Penn, Capouse, Muncie, all the work being done there at once. How did this happen, especially with all this new software?
I'll ask all those questions.
The other response I got was to something I talked about last week that's near and dear to me, the Unsheltered Task Force and the Code Blue shelters, and trying to get some more resources in there during this cold streak when we know that it is open every day for the next couple weeks, right? And if we could work with the county, some of the drug and alcohol providers within our area to maybe help individuals who are there who may need an assessment, get to treatment, some mental health assessments, or different ways that we could be innovative to help individuals while they're there in one centralized location. And knowing that this is a timely issue, and the timeliness being that it's very cold right now and they will be there every night. And I got to be honest, the response I got from the administration does not sit well with me at all. They said that they will bring it up at the next Unsheltered Task Force meeting, which isn't until February 2nd. I was asking if we could get services into these shelters right now when we know where they're at. And I understand it may take a few days, but this was asked last Tuesday, and they're telling us that they can't respond to this until they bring it up at the next meeting on February 2nd. You can't send an email to anyone else that I brought up or to anyone else on the Unsheltered Task Force and say, could we start having a conversation around this? I find that response to be completely unacceptable, and I would like to follow up with the administration and see if there's anything we could do immediately to at least get the ball rolling and conversation started on this. Finally, I think Joan brought up a good point with the CBAs and the city website, and they're just not up there. Every week I look and I see the responses to council from the administration go up on the website immediately. As soon as we get emailed them, they're up on the website. So can we ask the administration if it's possible to update some of the CBAs and the other stuff on those websites to be more accurate and up to date?
I'll follow up again.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Voldenberg, I did send an email over, I'd say within the last 3 weeks, about the CBAs and updating of the website. Did we ever get a response on that, or are we still waiting for that?
They're working on it. I'll press them.
All right, thank you very much. Everyone up here tonight had some great questions. We all spoke about the snowstorm. You know, I want to start off by thanking DPW for the work that they do, thanking the police department and the fire department. They were also out on calls during the inclement weather. One thing I think everybody was focused on here is what was the feedback and what was the learning that we got from this storm? We knew the storm was coming. We knew it was going to be larger. Were we prepared for it? How are we going to do it next time? Between Mr. Sean McAndrew and Pat Flynn, I think you've covered most of the questions that I had. Pat did ask about how many plows, so I believe we have 15 plows. Can we just clarify that it's 15 plows that the city owns? And then are all of those plows operational? And by that I mean, are they all functioning? We may not have the men to fill those plows on any given time, but are they all functional, or are some of those plows need of repair?
I'll inquire.
Thank you very much. When it comes to this next storm, how many of those plows will be on the road, and do we have enough salt on hand for the next storm? And to follow up on that one, are we making the same salt purchases capacity-wise for the last several years? So if we could just have our salt purchases for the last, say, 6 years, and are we purchasing the same amount each year, or has that salt purchase gone down?
I will, sir.
Thank you very much. I did get a lot of calls from East Mountain. Today I was getting a lot of calls from East Mountain. I was getting calls from North Scranton, West Scranton, Patton, Greenridge, so all over the city. Some areas gave DPW 5 stars and thumbs up, but I think there's still work to be done here. I did have some questions last week, and I did get some answers. I did ask about OpenGov. It's a contract that's going to be coming up. It's a rather large contract that's going to be ending in April. I did get a little bit of a response. I asked how the platform was going, how much is public-facing, and I got a pretty decently extensive answer on how many active users there are, how many departments in the city use the platform, et cetera. But one of the questions I really wanted to know was, is it possible to get, so Mr. Voldenberg, just to specify the question, is it possible to get a copy of the current contract, or to either ask the administration about the contract renewal? I wanted to know about the contract renewal. Was it in the original contract that an auto renewal would occur unless either party decided to end that contract within 30 days of the end date? The contract's up in April. Can we get a total cost of the platform for the last 5 years? And then can we get a total cost of the platform for the next 5 years? I imagine from the answer that I got, the city wants to continue to use the platform. And with that being said, when is that going to come in front of council for approval?
I will, sir.
Thank you very much. At some point in time, when we talk about stormwater with what was going on in Kaiser Valley over the last few weeks, there was talk about building a retention pond in Newton, and they did talk about the possibility of some land that pond would be built. I did ask the mayor about it, but I didn't get a response. Frank, can we ask what's the status of the retention pond located in Newton that Scranton planned on building? Thank you. Back to snow removal. The city is going to continue snow removal until Thursday. And one thing I did see when I was out, and some of the workers that I spoke to had seen the same thing, this was the first snowstorm that I saw that people were blatantly blowing snow into the middle of the road. Workers had seen it. Some of the supervisors had seen it. I had seen it firsthand. So if we could just remember, please do not blow snow into the middle of the roadway. It's dangerous. We talked about caucus with PA Water. Mr. Voldenberg is working on a caucus bringing them in. We did get a response back on social contract. They're working on a caucus for social contract. So we have a couple caucuses that are going to be coming up. And with that being said, yeah, go ahead.
This came through before, and then have it in my notes, 700 block of Jeanette Street regarding the plowing. Can you call that in or send it in?
I will, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and as I said, East Mountain I was getting some photographs from East Mountain as I was arriving here to council, if they could focus on some of those higher elevations. I know the hills in Southside and around the hospitals were also in need of plowing. Thank you. 5B.
5B for introduction, an ordinance approving and authorizing the acquisition by easement agreements, deed in lieu of condemnation, or otherwise in the necessary rights, franchises, licenses, easements, or titles of land required for permanent and temporary easements in order to complete the Lindy Creek Flood Mitigation Project, and authorizing the filing of a declaration of taking pursuant to Section 302 of the Eminent Domain Code, if required.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5B introduced to its proper committee.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, this item 5B is 4 properties located along Frink Street. One of them does have a Washburn Street address. Mr. Voldenberg, could we just ask the administration, have the residents living in these 4 properties been notified?
I will, sir.
Thank you very much. Anything else on the question? All those in favor of introduction, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5C for introduction, a resolution. Reappointment of Rosemary Bohanic as a member of the Scranton Human Relations Commission for a term expiring January 29th, 2031.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5C be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor
Aye.
of introduction, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5D for introduction, a resolution. Reappointment of Thomas Miller as a member of the Scranton Civil Service Commission for a term expiring January 6, 2030.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question. Okay, on the question, I did bring it up in caucus. As we go through the vetting process for individuals that may be appointed to boards, we look at the Lackawanna County Assessor's Office for the ownership of property. We look at real estate and whether taxes are up to date. We look at if the refuse fees are paid and if there's also some code enforcement violations. When we do this, if the individual lives in the city, this would come up on these records. If they live in the county, property ownership would come up in the county. But if the individual lives outside of the city, can we just ask, would we find this information? I assume the answer would be no, but if we could ask anyways.
I will, Mr. Schuster.
All right. With this individual, can we find out if he also lives in the city? We do redact addresses on our public documents, but can we find out if he does live in the city?
I will.
And then do all the individuals have they all submitted their final financial interest statement forms?
I'll check on that.
Thank you very much. All those in favor of introduction signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5E for introduction, a resolution. Appointment of Margaret O'Brien as an alternate member of the Scranton Civil Service Commission for a term expiring January 6, 2030.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5E be introduced to its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5F for introduction, a resolution accepting a donation in the amount of $3,000 to the Scranton Fire Department to be placed in the Special Cities account number as noted.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5F be introduced to its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so moved.
Sixth order, 6A, reading by title, filed to Council Number 2, 2026, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a permanent easement agreement and right-of-way between Lackawanna County and the city of Scranton for real estate owned by Lackawanna County as more fully described in Exhibit A attached hereto.
You've heard reading by title of item 6A. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that item 6A pass reading by title.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
6B, reading by title, filed to Council Number 3, 2026, an ordinance amending the Scranton-Abington's Planning Association Intergovernmental Cooperative Implementation Agreement to extend the agreement.
You've heard reading of title of item 6B. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that item 6B pass reading by title.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
And opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
6C, reading by title, filed to Council Number 4, 2026, an ordinance amending street openings and excavations code to adjust the schedule of inspection fees and related permit provisions.
You've heard reading of title of item 6C. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that item 6C pass reading by title.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
Seventh order, 7A, for consideration by the Committee on Finance for adoption, filed to Council Number 1, 2026. Amending file of the Council Number 102, 2025, an ordinance entitled General City Operating Budget 2026 by increasing account number as noted wage tax by $4,000 and account number as noted city clerk, city council standard salary by $4,000 to merit increase to city council office clerical employees.
What is the recommendation of the vice chair for the Committee on Finance?
As Vice Chair for the Committee on Finance, I recommend final passage of item 7A.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Sean McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Mark McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes. I hereby declare item 7A legally and lawfully adopted.
7B, for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 6, 2026. Resolution authorizing an application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Municipal Assistance Program.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As Chairperson for the Committee of Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7B.
Second.
On the question? On the question, I do have something. If we could please ask, now with the talk of data centers, if we could just ask, has the topic of data centers come up in terms of the SAPA plan? And have we discussed that with any other municipalities that are part of SAPA?
I'll ask that.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please, Mrs. Kerr.
Mr. Sean McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Mark McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes. I hereby declare item 7B legally and lawfully adopted.
7C, for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, Resolution Number 7, 2026. Authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a permanent easement agreement and right-of-way substantially in the form attached hereto as Exhibit A by and between the City of Scranton and Pennsylvania American Water Company for real estate owned by the City of Scranton.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As Chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7C.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Sean McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Mark McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes. I hereby declare item 7C legally and lawfully adopted.
7D for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 8, 2026, appointment of Aaron Nybert as a member of the Scranton Redevelopment Authority to replace Mario Sabanelli for the remainder of the term expiring February 4th, 2027.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7D.
Second.
On the question? On the question, we did discuss in caucus about the Scranton SRA board, and some of the things that came up were about the new director. So, Mr. Voldenberg, can we ask, do we have officially a new director of the SRA? And then, what is the start date for the new director? And then when will that legislation come before council?
I'll ask those questions.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sean McAndrew,
Yes.
Mr. Mark McAndrew,
Yes.
Mr. Flynn,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7D legally and lawfully adopted.
Eighth order, no business at this time.
If there are no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, this meeting